a story I will tell about a persecution I'm sure you don't know well. An Oklahoma tale of trading land and gems, going down a river that you can't come back up again.
Welcome to episode 163 of Cowboy Shit, the podcast. My name is Ted Stovin, and my co-host is Dustin Edwards. Dustin, we've got some heavy news this week in the rodeo community, and it's really close to your community. I'll let you speak to it.
Yeah, you betcha. You know, really, really heavy hearts in the rodeo community with the loss of Jamie Harden this week, who's an avid barrel racer and a rodeo family. Of course, her husband Josh Harden, a longtime saddle bronc rider, and not only involved in rodeo, but a great family as well. They got 3 little kids, and yeah, she passed away this past week while down in Arizona. You know, from all accounts, doing what they love doing. Look like they've been riding horses and having some good family time with lots of different rodeo people and friends. So if you didn't know Jamie, she was always fun. She was a bit of a prankster, and in her, you know, in the friend circles around Big Valley was always entertaining, and so it hits that community pretty hard. And I had the privilege of being around Jamie my whole time around Big Valley, and you know, she did great leather work. I have 2 of her belts that she did, and she was always, you know, courteous with that side of it, with donating to different events, and just a really good family, and just really thinking about her husband and especially the 3 kids, the 2 boys and her daughter. So yeah, really, really thinking about all them this week. And it's as you could tell by social media, she had a big impact on our community, and yeah, will certainly be missed, and just devastating news on that side of it.
It's Big Valley's had a rough go on a few different things over the years, hasn't it?
Well, when you get such a tight knit community, and everybody's so involved in everything, you know, the kids hockey, the kids in rodeo, and just the tight knit community that rodeo is already. But then you have everybody living within like 30 square miles of each other.
Yeah,
you know, every rodeo and roping party, every barrel jackpot, it's the same group of people there, so it becomes even more tight knit. So yeah, it's really, really tough on that community, and we're just thinking of everybody. So,
well, I'm sorry, Dustin. Sorry for the whole crew out that way. It's never easy, and I feel for Josh and the kids. Like, got to raise 3 kids on his own here now. Like, he's gonna have a lot of support between his friends and family, but heart goes out to that whole crew.
You know, that whole community will be behind them. You know, their daughter had some medical issues a few years ago, and the community rallied behind them. Yeah, so I expect, you know, we'll see the same. I've seen that they're going to start putting together some sort of benefit auction and stuff like that. So yeah, there'll be a big community outpouring, I'm sure, to help get that family through. And the Hardens are a good crew, and you know, Jamie and her family and her sister is married to Clayton Bunny. That's Jen. You know, so they're all a really close knit crew, and they're all going to pick each other up, I'm sure. And we'll see lots of outpouring and support for them.
We'll be in Hannah this weekend for the hockey tournament, the usual tournament, and I'm sure there'll be something there where we'll be able to support. I know Noodles like has been on the team before, Coulter Harden as well. So we'll be keeping an eye out, and when we have more information, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, you betcha. So the rodeo community, I'm sure, will not let this family down, as they don't let anybody down. That's one thing you always see through this is the rodeo community always rises trying to lift others. So
absolutely. Well, and I guess speaking of lifting others, or maybe like trying not to drop others, Dustin, you rappelled out of the ceiling of the Saddle Dome the other day.
Yeah, that was cool. We had the Calgary tactical team do the opening for the Roughnecks game. They rappelled from the top catwalk, which is right at the roof of the dome.
How high?
I want to say it's about 90 feet. So 90 feet. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're teetering over the edge of the catwalk, it feels like a lot. And so the tactical team came a day early, and they were rehearsing, and they said, "Hey, do you want to try
this out?"
No, I'm good. And I was in my dress shoes. I was in my dress pants. Like, I was in the office working, and
yeah.
And they did a couple they did a couple of jumps, and then they said, well, we're going to wrap up our stuff. Are you sure you don't want to go? And I'm thinking, you know what, when am I going to get a chance to do this again? So I said, if you put a harness on me really quick and show me how to run the brake handle, so I don't overthink it, I'll do it. So yeah, they harnessed me up. I jumped over the ledge, and I had to go almost completely like horizontal and then upside down to get underneath the catwalk so that I could go down. So
Really?
that was the scary part. I just couldn't hop over and like go down. I had to go my legs completely straight, my back, and then go upside down so I could swing underneath the catwalk to go down. So
Really?
that was really scary. I was literally looking right up at the roof, and then
Oh gosh.
where I went. So yeah, thanks to the Calgary tactical team for let me go down, and a little bit of pee ran down my leg, but all was good.
Man, so how, like, what are the chances that you fall off that thing and you're done? Like you're,
Well, I was thinking about those odds as I
ugh,
was dangling. They had a safety line attached to me, but the safety line was attached to the carabiner that I was attached to. So I'm thinking, well, if the carabiner goes or this harness goes, safety line or not, she's curtains for me.
so there
But
was a safety line. Like they could have pulled, like
but I
you
think
would have fell to a certain
yeah, the safety line was so that if I like effed up on my little handle there, the little
the
brake
belay
that
thing.
I
Yeah, the
fed the
break.
rope through, yeah, the belay, that they could keep me from free running.
Jeez.
So essentially, like there was nothing that said the carabiner went or the harness went that I was fine. I'd be toast. But
Jeez. Was it a thrill? Like were you just totally
yeah, it
jacked
was
up
cool.
over it? Oh
It was
man.
cool. Once I started going halfway down there, I like braked. I was probably about 50 feet above the floor, and I flipped myself upside down, so I was totally inverted, and then I flipped back up and came down. So it was cool. Once
Dang.
I got underneath, once I got below the jumbotron, it was pretty badass.
Holy. That's neat. Then you're
Yeah,
like, it's not that far. It's not that high anymore.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah. So check out my Instagram at Dusty Trails _88. You can see the whole video.
For the full video.
For the full video, check it out.
Check it out on Dustin's OnlyFans.
I thought it was
Full
cowboy
video.
shit, kind of. It was some kind of
Yeah, I'd
shit,
say.
crazy shit, cowboy
Yeah,
shit.
I'd say. But it takes a little bit of courage to go and do that and jump out there. I like
Well,
it.
it's like one of those things. Like, when would you ever have the chance to do it again? So
Not
I don't
often.
know how many people have rappelled from the Saddle Dome roof. So I thought I'd put my name on the short list.
Yeah, why not? Um, what else we got, Dustin? You just had a couple games too. Double header. The All-Star weekend, you had a couple games at the Dome.
Yeah, two losses. Unfortunately, lost by one Friday. It was our Every Child Matters game with some help from Siksika First Nation. So that was really cool. Yeah, we had the Calgary Stampede Princess and Indigenous First Nations Princess come out. So we got to host them in the owner's box with some members of Siksika and Sutina, and Ryan Stresnitsky from the Humboldt Broncos was out. So we had a really nice crew there for that game. So that was lots of fun. And then Saturday, we lost 9-7 to the first place team in the league, which sucked. But all wrapped up, a good doubleheader, and now got 2 weeks off till we're back again against Halifax. So
Halifax. So 2 weeks is the end of February, and then you've got a
we,
trip to Philadelphia in March.
yeah. So two more home games, and then go to Philadelphia March 1st. So gonna hit a basketball game. We play a lacrosse game. Going to a Flyers game as well. So
Oh dang,
three
triple.
three sporting events in 24 hours.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So I'm
Wait, so
looking forward to that.
is there one in the daytime and the next one is like the next one's
So
after?
the basketball game's 7:30 Friday night. Our game's at 11 a.m. Saturday morning, and then
No
the
way.
Flyers play right after us, and they're all in the same building. So
No way.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. So it's gonna be pretty cool to take that in and check it all out.
I'd say so. Holy smokes.
Let's talk about what's going on in your world, Teddy. You've been basking in the sunshine, playing golf, and took in some announcers school.
Yeah, I went to a broadcast and announcing school in Fort Worth. Just McKee put it on. Had a good couple days down there. It was it was solid. I learned a lot of. I would say it was great on the networking side. As far as the announcing and broadcast side went, like I don't know a lot about it, but I learned a lot. I learned a good couple different things to put to use, and I'm not sure where and when I might use them. It was more so for the broadcast side of things. For me, for the show, I wanted to think about the podcast side of things, and there's a couple things I can do differently on the show. Like I need to make us an intro to talk about what we talk about on the show for those people that might not know about us. We kind of do our little bit beforehand here, and then we get into the interview side of things, and then we do a little bit of a wrap up after. That's kind of the format. But a lot of what I say, a lot of I don't know. I learned a lot of good stuff. I enjoyed it, and a lot of good people were in the room too. World champion Rope Myers was there. Cord McCoy has been on the show before. He was there, taking the broadcast side of things, the announcing clinic. What else? I met a good crew. I enjoyed it there. So we had a fun couple of days.
Did you get to sit up on the desk and do some
Yeah.
mock prop lesson?
Yeah, a couple of pieces, yeah, but they were awful, so I don't want anybody to see them because I didn't do a very good job.
That's the stuff you want in the can for once you can look back on and
Yeah, do it again, right? It's a lot of reps, right? The thing would be reps to do more of it. I haven't done enough of it, so. Anyways, that was fun, and then what else we do? Spent a couple days in Phoenix between then because we were kind of there and back after the market in Dallas. I think we've talked since then, though. We had a show back on the 24th, so we probably talked that week. But what else? Got a couple more trips coming up. Yeah, Red Deer was a great event. Got to give a shout out to Jake Gardner. Gets the W. He made 2 really solid rides, won almost $10,000. I didn't realize that Red Deer was a major, but it was a major event. There was more points awarded there. So huge win for Jake. Jared Parsonage rode 2. Cody Covertruck rode 2. Chance Switzer made his debut on the PBR's Elite Series earlier in the year in New York City. So we got to go to Madison Square Garden and ride there. Didn't have any luck, but rode 2 in Red Deer and finished second. So Tyler Craig, I think, probably could have and should have won, but he got bucked off in the short round of a bull that he rode at the finals in Edmonton last year. So great start to the event, though, and I got to give kudos to the whole team. And I got to thank my new buddy, Bill Caverly. So Bill works with Cody Mazerol at a lot of the Maz Entertainment, like a lot of the shows that they end up going on. So Bill's our audio tech on the tour now. So I've got a real audio tech for the first time since 2017 on our main tour, and it's a breeze having a guy like Bill on board. So I'm pumped to have Bill on for the season. He made my job a whole lot easier, but I thought we had a great time. It was an awesome show.
And it looked like a good crowd in Red Deer as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it was more than the year before, so that's all we can ask for. Just keep going the right way. Next one, March 1st and 2nd in Lethbridge. Probably, I would expect it to be a sellout. Probably both nights. They usually have huge crowds there. One of our best events of the year is Lethbridge. So looking forward to that next one already, Dustin.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And of course, the Canadians are busy down. The winter run continues down south.
Yeah, Zeke won second in Fort Worth. That was a big one.
Yeah, made a couple big rides. It was 90 and 92, I think. So
yeah,
he got some money out of there, a pretty good size check. So he's back to doing what Zeke does so well.
Zeke things. And then what else happened? San Antonio will be on this week, and I had what you know what we didn't talk about is Fort Worth. So I mean, what we should do though is get to the interview. So let's get to the interview.
Yeah,
and we'll wrap up with a few things after we talk to Judy. But Judy Wagner, really enjoyed recording this show. We did it back in Dallas during the market. We had a free morning, and I had wanted to do a show with Judy over the years. I've known her for a long time, so hope everybody enjoys the interview with Judy. Thanks again for listening, though. My name is Ted Stovin. This is Cowboy Shit. My co-host once again, Dustin Edwards. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for everybody for listening. Once again, if you haven't listened to the podcast before, hopefully you enjoy it. And we kind of talked to what would you say, Dustin? We talked to different people inside the Western world, and they might not have to be totally in it, but around it, adjacent to it. If there's anything to do with cowboy shit or cowgirl shit, we can find a way to make it relevant, eh?
That's right. If there's any way to interconnect it or some degree through 6 degrees of separation, we can pull it in and it's cool shit. We can have it.
Exactly. All right, everybody, enjoy the show this week.
She's wearing an old dress, walking it out, waiting for someone to turn her around. But she won't believe you when you fall down on your knees. She fell asleep, listening to my friends, talking on and on about how the world ends. Then she wakes up and climbs in my front seat. And she said, don't you wait to try it. Are you scared to find it? And do you want to take my broken heart? Are you scared to start?
All right, we are in Dallas, Texas this week at WESA, and I've got a very special guest on the show this time around. So this is a lady that I've known since, well, I didn't meet her in person until probably 2017, 18, 19, somewhere in there. But she was the director of marketing at Montana Silversmiths in the year 2000, moved on to the VP of marketing and was the chief marketing officer in her last couple years in the role, and is just about to move on to a new part as brand ambassador. But she's the 2019 Woman of the West Award winner presented by Western Horseman at the first Art of the Cowgirl, which you're going to later this week. That was back in 2019. But please welcome to the show, Judy Wagner.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, Ted.
Hey, I'm glad. So we were talking at dinner last night. It was our sales meeting yesterday, and we were like wondering what's going on today. And we kind of have a bit of a flex day because our booth's on 10, so we're not allowed, or 11. The 11th floor, we're not allowed to even be open yet today. And you had a little bit of time, and I was like, hey, Judy, we probably should get this podcast done while we're in the same room together in the same town.
Exactly. We have a lot of share, I guess, experiences, and it's always fun to talk to you.
So our first interaction would have been, I knew your name for a long time when I first applied for the Pursuit of Excellence scholarship that you and Montana, like you created in your role as marketing, I guess VP of marketing at the time, or this was director of marketing.
Director of marketing at the time. And I actually had children who were going to college. And I know the importance of scholarships, and I don't care what that scholarship is, it helps. And so I had a passion for that. I had a passion for youth. I had a passion because of my position at Montana Silversmith to give back. So we created this scholarship we call Pursuit of Excellence. And the thing about it is it wasn't that you had to be the smartest or who needed it. It's who showed that they were going to try to improve themselves in everyday efforts in what they did with their community and all of that. And I honestly still remember your application, and you made an impression on me, and it was an honor to give to you. And look at this, where we are today. You know, it's 2024 now, and where you came. And so I was right. You know, there's diamonds in the rough out there, and you're definitely one of them.
So are you saying that I've been polished up a little bit?
You've been polished up a little bit. Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah, there's rough edges, but you got it, guy.
That was are those the rough edges you're speaking of from my first trip to Denver when I was leg wrestling Shauna Lucas on the floor at the hotel?
Yeah, that would probably be one of them.
That was Shauna Bird. My apologies. Shauna and Lacey, they both own stores back home. And Donnie and I were drinking beer and margaritas, and we were having a large time.
See, I tell you, a few rough edges, but you got it. You're a diamond in there, I'm sure.
Okay, but that reminds me, though, of Denver. Donnie, this is kind of off topic, but Donnie always told me about how much fun the Grizzly Rose was in Denver. And seeing like Brooks and Dunn on the stage. Oh, and Garth Brooks before they were even big acts.
Actually, I was there. There was a market banquet, if you will, there, very young before he made it big. I remember they had such great dishes. They weren't even paper there when they fed us on great dishes there. We're in Grizzly Rose. All of a sudden, there's this great singer going up there, and one of my friends, one of the other, Randy Fitchner is his name, invited me to go dance. We're dancing, and here's this guy, and he's hanging on the ropes and swinging. I'll be darned if it wasn't Garth Brooks
on the stage.
On stage,
swinging on a rope like Tarzan.
He became big. It was awesome. Grizzly Rose was
smokes. But and then Donnie told me a story about Brooks and Dunn like performing back there in the day too.
Yeah. I mean, that's
crazy.
It was the place to be.
And now in Dallas, we're at the Hilton Anatole, and this place is
huge,
massive. Hey,
I know. You're on one side, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, that's right. There's a whole nother tower over here, and we got this crazy room this time. That's like probably one of the nicest hotel rooms I've ever.
Hello.
Yeah,
it's one of those rooms.
Pardon? It's a good. Storm says it's a good studio.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I remember applying for the scholarship in 2007 probably, and then I got it in 08 because it's a winter kind of deadline. So I was in school and I would have seen it. I would have seen the advertisement in the high school rodeo
High School
magazine.
Times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the high school rodeo magazine, and I saw the kids that would have won previously. And I think there was a Canadian kid that maybe a Llewellyn that won previously, or maybe they. I'm remembering that because Tyrell won the national high school finals.
Right.
So he didn't win the scholarship. Was I one of the first Canadians to
I think you were.
win?
There was always been Canadians that apply, and I always tell everybody you can't win if you don't enter.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it, that it's really important that you do try for these scholarships that are available out there. But it's been so rewarding to present them and to see the talent, like I said about you earlier.
I forget. I think I've asked you this before, but who else applied for that and has maybe applied or won over the years that you've seen in the rodeo or Western world a few years later?
It's, you can catch me off guard here just going in there. There's people that there's NFR competitors.
Oh yeah, I guess so, eh?
Yeah, that have been there, and so I'm actually like drawing a blank here on
That's
you.
okay.
But like it's normal people doing normal things there, and many of them have gone on to be veterinarians, and it's just the seed that we plant some days that come on.
And there's a lot of folks now that aren't maybe in the Western world that are applying too.
Actually, a lot more that aren't that
Yeah.
are, because they're out there looking for scholarships. And so I would encourage people that are in the Western world to look at that scholarship.
What was the first time we actually met in person in Denver? Like the first time I went there with Donnie?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so we're in the sales meeting and Judy starts telling a story about the hat feathers, which you had created pretty maybe that year, maybe a year before. It was pretty new, I think.
Right. Actually, the hat feather idea came along from an account who wife had lost a pair of earrings. And so he stuck a feather earring in his hat. And understanding the silver artistry and what Montana Silversmiths can do, I said, we can do that. And that looks really cool. And I then turned that idea into creating the hat feather, but also having the sales of the hat feather help self-fund the scholarship. So it was a win-win kind of situation. And it has gone on right now. This year we gave away over $20,000 in scholarships.
Holy smokes. So with the way the scholarship thing works, it's like, is that all saved in a savings account or like some kind of account that builds some money so that you can give out?
It builds money,
keep it going?
and I also want to add that added in, and you with Cowboyish here also as a past winner supporting that scholarship, and we couldn't do that enough, and I really want to thank you and Storm for what you've did to support that.
Well, thanks for giving us the opportunity to. I figured once we got our got our cowboy shit stuff in with Montana, like
there you go.
Somehow we have buckles with Montana right now.
Right.
Which
We're
is really
stronger
cool.
together, and this is a good example of it.
Well, and when once we got those things going, I was like, I had an idea one day. I don't know how it came to me, but I was like, we should give back part of the proceeds from the Montana stuff back to the scholarship that I won so long ago. Now I work with the company. Like, what a full circle.
Right. And I just want to
Perfect
share
fit.
with everybody what that is. Every time you give, it always comes back to you tenfold. And I got to say, there's fun in that too. It's rewarding, but there's fun in that as well.
It and actually with what we've sold so far, we've actually directly funded a couple of the scholarships now. Like
yes,
at least a few, right? So
yes,
we've sold a few buckles to
yes.
and we've got the cowgirl necklace as well now, and a few. We've had some dog tags now, and there's some more stuff coming this year. But
exactly,
I thought it was so fun to be able to do that.
See, I told you, folks, he is a diamond in the
rough. But yeah, so we had those two pieces, but we finally met. I knew your name, and I'd never met you before, and I think I'd probably seen you in the arena at the NFR giving out the average, like the saddles for the aggregate at the NFR, or maybe there's a Montana night too. What is it?
Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah,
is our sponsor night, and had the opportunity to ride the stagecoach into the ring. I tell you, that's a thrilling thing.
I bet.
Those people back in the day when they rode on the stagecoach, not an easy ride, but I got to tell you what a thrill it is to come down that alleyway.
So I think one of the next pieces we should really start with, though, is, well, I guess, I don't know, where should we go first? Should we go all the way back should we go back to Gator? or should we start with more of the NFR stuff and Miss Rodeo America, and like, where should we go first with this?
Yeah, let's stay at NFR, and then we'll go to my past life there a little bit.
Places.
Yeah, it's been quite an honor. We were first. One of the first sponsorships that we did is about the time I came to Montana Silversmith was in 2000, just building relationships, working with the PRCA and growing that has been quite the honor. Also, Miss Rodeo America was another one of the first ones that we did, again, investing in to the talent that is out there has kind of been a thing of mine. And I've kind of taken it to a different step, especially with young women or young talent out there, the mentorships that we can build. And some of the young women or young men as yourself right now are truly becoming some of my best friends right now, just because of those relationships.
And one of the first things you mentioned is actually sponsoring Miss Rodeo America. And there was always Montana jewelry on the Miss Rodeo America contestants and winners and different state queens, I guess.
Right.
You'd say, right?
We bring them up. Actually, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but brought them up to introduce them to Montana Silversmith, let them know the people behind the product, exactly what they were wearing, so that they could tell that story better. Because they're really ambassadors, not only for the rodeo PRCA, but also for sponsorships that are out there. So we did that and used them in our advertising. Of course, now where we are with digital marketing, it's way more expanded. And so it's been a huge success for us.
And when did Montana begin working with the PRCA?
In 2000.
In 2000.
1999, 2000 was the trade.
And was that when Montana took over the world champion buckles?
Yes, it was. We have been making the gold buckles for the PRCA since 2000.
And was that something that you helped implement?
Yes, there was myself, Steve Miller at the time, and just working with a lot of great people there. And of course, the team at Montana, we wanted to make the absolute best, most prestigious buckle you can have there. And hopefully you see that we like to say every buckle has a story, and definitely that PRCA gold buckle is a great story.
And they're like, I don't know what they're actually worth, but I've heard different numbers between like $16,000 and $40,000, but they're technically priceless. That's the line I've been getting.
That is the line. And of course, right? It's the cost and precious metals and all of that right now. It's a commodity out there, but it truly is priceless.
So since 2000, who made them before? Was it GIS before? Or was it some other maker, or who?
No, ADM.
ADM. Who was ADM?
It was another company out there. GIS did it way in the back, and then it was ADM that had it there. So.
And who was it? Who was ADM? I don't even know who that was. Were they a buckle company or jewelry company?
Yeah, they were a buckle company, and
really?
we ended up purchasing that company.
Oh, really?
Helped facilitate the initial steps.
Oh, really? Interesting. Talk about that design, the buckle design. That thing hasn't really changed. Even the figure on the bull riding buckle is still the same as it was in the 60s.
Yes, none of it has changed. We didn't change. We protected the integrity of it, just facilitated the artistry with our Montana Silversmith artists, designers, and engravers.
ADM wasn't like award design.
Yes.
It was award design.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So I have a buckle that's an Alberta cast buckle that says award design on it. It says Calgary. They weren't somehow, did they have manufacturing in Calgary, or how would they have done that?
I am not sure about that. Sure. I don't believe they did, but they might have just customized it for that.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
It looked like it was made in Canada, like they had a factory up here or something. It was kind of interesting. But that design and now so Justin, I don't know what his last name is right now. I'm blanking. Yeah, Justin Deacon. Yeah. So Justin is one of the master silversmiths that's behind these buckles. And if you've seen anything about the world champion buckles, you've seen what Justin his work. But these things are like, seeing them up close. If you've never seen them up close, like, take some time sometime if you got to go to the Trevor Brazil exhibit.
No way to take a photo of it.
Yeah, that justifies
that does it justify. And I can tell you firsthand that when you look at them, it will take your breath away.
Mm-hmm.
It is that kind of beauty.
And especially if you're any kind of rodeo fan, it's something that there's nothing like it, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Where's that at now? Okay, so we've got the world champion buckles with Montana Silversmiths, and that's with the so ADM was award design manufacturing, or what would they? That's what it would have been. So take that over, and still the gold buckles. Still making the gold buckles in 2023. There's probably a deal for moving forward. I'm imagining we don't have to talk about specifics, but the sponsorship. So it's partially product in providing the go round buckles and the stock awards and the year end awards and some of the circuit finals awards. Maybe not all the circuit finals, but most of them, or
most of them. We do that. It's all upward up there, and or all of them, all of the circuit finals. Those awards will come from Montana Silversmith, and so much more. It's about relationships. It's about opportunity. It's how you use buckles. It's not just for the awards, but they can committees as well as even sponsors can utilize buckles for all sorts of things as revenue sources and all of that. So it's so much more, and it's relationships, and it's just building together for whatever the vision is of who our customers are at that time.
The what am I trying to say here? The buckle side of things, though, I've always been so interested in that, and having won a couple over the years, like not a lot, but the PBR is a big side of the marketing side that you've done, and you've seen the PBR in your role with Montana from the year 2000, and I know there was some Jeffrey Scott years in there from probably like early to mid 2000s, like 02 to 08 or so.
Right.
I'm thinking, but
we were part of PBR kind of in the early days, then out again and then back again. And it's very strong with our relationship with the PBR. Super to build the beautiful championship buckles and so much more with them. And we've also done their team championship buckles, so the large 24-inch one. And so there's a lot more to come with PBR and where that's going as well.
So what about seeing that over the years, though, going from the early days, and you probably made a deal with Randy Bernard originally?
Initially, yes.
Right.
And then with Sean, but it's been great. And again, it's building on those relationships, working together for common goals, and it's really coming to fruition now. It's quite gratifying.
The PBR World Champion buckles, those have changed a little bit over the years. So is there any story to that, really? Is that a PBR side of things?
Directed by PBR, and of course, Callie Adams, who facilitates that as the director here for Montana Silversmith, but just working together for what they want.
Interesting. It's definitely different. Like I love the PRC World Champion buckles. Those are iconic, and the PBR side of things, like it is a major. It's one of the other major world titles, but that buckle isn't quite the same. I don't know if they're. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just different, right? Doesn't have the history yet. It's only 31 years old, where
right,
the RCA side is what? It's been around for 70 years.
Visionary. I want to say, that I like to say sometimes, we're thinking outside the buckle. I think that's what the PBR does.
Thinking outside the buckle.
Thinking outside the buckle.
That's
so
true.
Coming up with great things.
They've got the cup, I guess, too, eh? The World Champion Cup. I think we should go to, is there anything else on the Montana side of things that we want to really get to? There's so many other things that we could talk about. Like we already talked about the hat feathers a little bit, but the display box, that's actually something that we had in our notes here, something that you created in your years.
I'm really proud of the display boxes. At the time, we just had normal packaging, and that those buckles, they need something really great. There's an author out there by the name of Seth Godin, and it's called Free Prize Inside. And I read that book, and it's like when you have a good idea and you take your good idea and then you just keep pushing it, it's like putting something on the edge of the table and you just keep pushing that idea till it falls. And that's what I did with the packaging. I'm going, what else can we do? So we came up with the shadow box to put that in. And I'm going, every champion's going to hold that up. What are you going to see? That buckle. And it's been a source of pride then for a long time. So in the early 2000s, came up with that idea. And of course, there's Elmer. I don't know if anybody's been around with Montana for a while. We had a lifestyle line. And Elmer was the mascot. That was the very first thing I was asked to do as the director of marketing here. Come to Denver Market and showcase during the style show, Montana Silversmith products. We were doing bits and spurs at that time and lifestyle products. And how am I going to do that on a runway with some models? So I decided, well, of course, Elmer. So actually went online. First amount of money I ever spent at Montana was buying the mascot Elmer. And I had the president at the time, Dennis Potsman, say, you're either going to be a hero or you're going to be fired. And I was one nervous lady. So I decided, okay, I'm going to model Elmer. So I actually was Elmer on the runway, and I hired 2 models that kind of dressed like maids, if you will, and they were pushing the cart. So we were holding the bits and spurs. We had lifestyle products on there. Elmer went out there and danced in. The rest is history. He was a huge, great mascot for many years.
And was on like Christmas ornaments and on like every box. Like Elmer was the Montana horse. Like he's a horse.
Yes,
Elmer the horse,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And horses rule, and we had a lot of fun with Elmer.
So how did you ever get hired to be the director of marketing at Montana? Like what did you do before that?
Before that,
I
owned a rope company.
Yeah.
It was my husband was always he was a sales rep in the
Alvin.
industry. Yes, Alvin.
Yeah.
And
Ariat and American Hat, and who else?
He was Crate Saddles. He was Stetson Hats in the early days, and
which is Hat Co. No, Stetson's its own thing.
Stetson was its own thing back then. And
Hat Co's Resistol.
Yes, and then they paired up. It became that, and so it was that, and he was out. One of his partners said, "Hey, how would Judy like to start a rope company?" And so basically, did I grew up on a ranch. Actually, didn't know that much about ropes. My idea was a rope was grab something out of the barn. It was a 7/16 scat, and that was probably it. And go rope. And I remember we had Mike Beers and Dee Pickett roping schools at our house a lot. And they were helping me with roping. The very next year, I was walking around or riding around the arena with them. And Mike says, "So what are you doing, Judy?" And I go, "I guess I'm going to start a rope company." He goes, "You didn't even know what different size rope you're doing." I go, "Yeah, but I have a passion, and that's what I'm going to do right now." So I started the rope company, and really it was
Gator Ropes.
Gator Ropes.
Yeah.
And it actually started, and the name come from we were sitting in a bar in Dillon trying to decide if we were going to have a green rope, what was green, and that's how Gator came about to be. But the beauty of it, we found a little mascot was a rubberized, actually eraser that we used to depict the lays of the rope. So we had pink gators, green gators, yellow gators. And I used to tell people, I said, the ropes are free, but that gator's going to cost you. And people loved them.
So you said it was a little, you said eraser?
It was an eraser.
Eraser. Oh, like a pencil eraser.
Yes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I used to torture my kids and make it punch holes in it so we could put the chains on it. Yeah. But the beauty of it was I could look at my racks and tell how many head ropes I had, soft, medium, softs, or whatever, how many heel ropes, just by looking at the colors of the gators.
Oh, really? Dang. So where did you get the gators from?
They were just online somewhere that I found them and went with it. Yeah.
Okay, so Gator Ropes is started, like, I think you told me 1988, 1989, somewhere in there. Yeah, and so that was kind of, so, but before that, though, you grew up and you said you were the oldest of 8 kids.
Oldest of 8 on a ranch in Avon, Montana. So technically, I'm a real live Avon lady.
Avon, Montana. And okay, I don't know where that town is. That sounds like a smaller one that I haven't been to.
Yeah, it is. It's west of Helena, the capital.
Yep. Kind of up in the hills a little bit almost, or down by the river there?
Yeah, it's up in the hills.
Yeah. On the
Luke Mountain is up there.
Is it on the
Avon Elks? That's the name of the school.
Name of the school. Is it close by, like, we take the 15 when we're going down, like going south?
Missoula.
Towards Missoula.
Towards west. That's another way to go.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. Is that off the 90 then? Is that right?
Yeah.
Instead of the 15? Or is it not interstate? Don't know.
It's interstate, but
interstate. Okay. I don't know. So Avon. So, and you're the oldest of 8 and bunch of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I have 8 brothers and sisters. And when I was 16 years old, unfortunately, my father was killed in a tractor accident. And that was in December. And we grew up fast. That's where my marketing, I guess, sense came from. You know, the cows don't know it's Christmas. I call it ranch grown logic. You know, it's just common sense. How do we do what we need to do when we need to do it? That's where it came from.
And then ranch grown logic turned into ranch girl logic after a while too.
No, it's just still ranch grown
Ranch
logic.
grown?
And I talk about it all the time, like if I have a meeting at work or whatever, let's circle the wagons and I will bring people in. So I use my ranch life, my cowgirl life in my daily work.
In your daily work.
Yeah.
So Gator starts in 88. You got a partner that you're working on things with. How does it start? What do you buy? What do you build? What do you sell? How does it get going? What's the launch?
That was so fun. The rope bodies were actually spun in Texas. They were sent to Oklahoma at that time and tied. Then they were shipped to my garage, and I would push them out and push them going that. And then eventually we changed all that, and it grew big enough that we moved out of it. And at one time had up to 9 employees there working for Gator.
And where was that at? Where did you?
That was
build
in
them all
Helena,
at?
Montana.
In Helena.
Mhm.
And did you live? You were still in Avon at the time then.
No, I lived at Helena then.
Oh, at Helena.
Calvin and I moved there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so you're selling ropes and selling them. Is it mostly like direct to consumer? Or are you selling?
It was
like,
both.
Yeah,
I
wholesale as
learned, to after going to markets and stuff. So I would showcase my wares at Denver Market, and I would learn though earlier by going to like the high school finals, because the high school kids would tell us what they liked. I was able then, or go into the NFR, I was able then to go to Dallas and tell stores, this is going to sell, this is not going to sell. I used my kids for research, which caps were going to sell, which wasn't. So that was
You
my
said you sold
research
more
and
caps than
development,
ropes.
right?
Yeah.
I did at one point.
Yeah.
I sold more caps than I sold ropes.
Holy. So you're going, but you had talked about a story yesterday that you had a rope can in somebody else's showroom originally in Denver. Is that right? Is that how some of that started before you had your own showroom?
I just started, brought my ropes into, actually it was Crate Saddles. And that's where I showed my products to different retailers across the United States.
Dang.
I actually exported a lot to Canada, and Canada was one of my best customers.
Yeah, and closer on shipping. A lot of the stuff we sell and ship now, it's cheaper to ship it to the U.S. than it is in Canada.
Yeah,
yeah, it costs me more to ship to Ontario than Arkansas.
There you go.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So Gator, you take it and run it for 10 years, but you had the Gator team you mentioned to me earlier.
I did. I started a Gator team. I partnered with a artist, cowboy, went to the NFR, won some championships there, Wally Badgett, and he drew the Gator team for me. So I had Jake Barnes. He was part of it. I had Clay O'Brien Cooper, Speedy Williams, and we were all just young back then. It was simple, but they called me. I remember Jake called me and he said, I'd like to be on your team. My first ad was in the Roper Sports News in California.
Okay.
And that's where he heard about it. And the rest, I guess, is history. I was like taking care of growing up together and watching the industry grow from now. It's really changed from back then, but it was a great opportunity.
And so was that one of the first kind of rodeo teams that there was in the industry? Was the Gator team? Is that right?
It was actually, and I'm
believe, just assuming, but I don't know.
I believe there was a calf roper. He lost his life in the car wreck. Sean McMillan, that actually went to the NFR, and I remember putting my logo on him. And I believe I never saw anybody else. It wasn't big and bold, but it was on there, so it was it was there.
Like one of the first sponsorships. Is that what you're saying? Really?
Yeah.
Ever at the finals?
Yeah.
And what year would that have been? Like early 90s?
Yeah, early 90s. And I was thinking that in there going, or even how we, merchandised or marketed our products. Like probably one of the first to do gift packs for kids and really focus on kids. What I liked about the industry right then is some of my friends were competitors, Paul Sullivan or Ken Bray, Kurt Matthews owning and pushing out other ropes and really, I guess, sharpening each other and yet being friends at the same time. And it was quite the relationship back then.
Which company was he with?
Which one?
You said Kurt
Matthews.
Which did he had a rope company as well?
Can't remember.
Don't remember? But is this like now the big rope companies are like Classic and Cactus and yeah. So was it one of like some of those guys that started those companies?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And you guys were all friends in the same industry?
Like
really?
Paul Sullivan with Rattler and Ken Bray with Classic, and we were all friends.
And all had different competing companies. I feels like maybe that's not the same now. It's a bit bigger.
You know, I would still call them all my friends, and you know, like I said, you know, steel sharp as steel, and I think what made us better, and not cutthroat, but better.
And made everybody better.
Right.
And then there's huge Cactus team now, and lots of Classic sponsored athletes. So like it's huge, and Cactus is into the saddle business now as well, right? Like they're doing a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
So you mentioned alligator. I don't know the story here.
Oh, so alligator. I was actually going around market, and you know those Indians that talk to you outside of buildings or stuff.
Yeah.
So I had alligator created. I created this crate, and then I put this alligator on top that would talk to you. And it was actually, I named him after my husband, which is Alvin Earl Wagner. So that's where the name come, Gator. So Al, I could talk to kids as they were walking by. So I'd have high school kid put a mic on. So some kid would be walking by and I go, so you think you're a big cowboy? And he would talk to the kids and just have fun. And I guess that's what I learned in marketing to different demographics. Like when you go to the high school finals or you go, who's your customer? How do you talk to them? We had fun. We got down and we played games with it. We had roping bunnies. We had this. We had alligator talking. When you went to NFR, it was different. You elevated it and you spoke to those people buying gifts where you want to go. So it was all different. And it was self-taught, self-learned as you went, you know, made a few mistakes in the day. My very first trade show started back at trade shows at the NFR, started at the Tropicana first and then went to Cashman. The very first year at Cashman, I decided, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build this Christmas tree rack and I'm going to put wreaths on them. I'm going to take a rope and I'm going to cover it in evergreens and add Christmas ornaments to it. And that way, you know, it could be like a twofer. Never sold one of them. Sold every rope I took there. I was out in the parking lot cutting off the evergreens and selling ropes after them.
Oh, really?
So you're going to make a few mistakes out there, but don't be afraid to throw spaghetti on the wall and see what lands.
So you actually ran out of product at the NFR at the trade show? And what year would that have been? Very
first year. Like that's where I knew that we would hit the mark, that we were speaking to the customer. We were actually creating products that they valued. And that meant then I went to Denver that next month. I knew exactly what was selling, what the customer was resonating with, and I could tell the retailers that.
So was that like 88, 89, 90, like right in the beginning?
Yeah, right in there.
Oh, wow. So when you ran out of stuff, what did you do? Did you start taking orders?
Yeah,
start writing
taking orders. And one time I ran out of jackets and just called this was several years later, and I had really good vendor partners that would jump in from the guys that made our caps to the jackets, made sure your relationships are good, and they helped me when I ran out of inventory or all that.
That's wild. So I'm trying to think of where to go next. So you had a story though too about shipping ropes to Brazil, which for us now, like even for me, like we've been pretty good on the AR side of things and the terms are reasonable, but I can't imagine sending something to Brazil at this point. Like anything online now is paid for before it leaves.
Right. But you asked me about it and like still I look back and I really don't know how I did some of that back then, and I can't remember all of it. But I'm thinking, man, this is so awesome. Like I'm pretty sure at that time we were one of the largest exporters to Brazil. That I have to tell you was a mistake. I put all my eggs in one basket there from where I was as a small business there. I would have preferred and should have stayed with my bread and butter being, the dozen ropes here, dozen ropes there, 4 dozen, however you're going to do it to your stores and keep that cash flow going like that. So I made a lot of mistakes as I was growing and learning there. So I guess that would be my suggestion to young entrepreneurs out there wanting to go really to understand your business, to get mentors that can help you, and to ask. There's a lot of great people out there that will help you, but you got to ask. And they're out there to share what they've learned and be able to give you a helping hand, if you will, with your own business and vision and dreams.
So with the Brazil side of things, like you'd be shipping, I don't know, like if you're saying 4 dozen is a smaller order at home, you're sending hundreds of ropes.
Yes, you would. Yes, it was a mistake.
And then they sent you money by a transfer, but like you've got like
caught up for a while.
Yeah, like and you get cash poor, unfortunately, and it gets dodgy where you can't pay the bills because they owe you $100,000 out of Brazil, and you can't just call them up and say, "Hey, I need my money now."
Right.
Jeez.
I know.
Yeah, interesting. So you're on that side of it, but you even told me you were selling stuff to Lamleys. Like you sold a bunch of stuff up our way too.
Oh, I did. They were probably about the most caps of anybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Dang. And then you would have sold to a lot of the other Canadian folks over the years, like
I did.
between
lots of friends across them.
Yeah, because there would be the Jones Boys crew, and then
absolutely, and
then Alvin he still sells hats to them now.
He still sells American hats, yeah.
And Lacey in Lethbridge as well, probably, and I bet Keddy's and the Cowtowns, like a bunch of different folks over the
great friends,
yeah,
great friends in Montana, and great friends of ours for a long time.
Absolutely. So I guess what happens with Gator? Where does it go? What how do you end up at Montana?
Business, trying to figure out just the struggles of business, making sure there's enough profit margin to keep going, doing some of that. And I guess that's where I suggested, I couldn't talk for it for a long time, but that's really understand your business and where you're going to go. Try to find some partners, ended up selling it back to my original partner to begin with. And then I was kind of like, what am I going to do when I grow up? And being in the industry, basically, I think people watching you with a little bit of sweat labor and whatever had an opportunity to go to Montana. And that was like a wonderful thing to be still in Montana, to be in the industry, and to be able to take my relationships with me and to facilitate that with Montana. And the rest, I guess, is history. And I think everything happens for a reason. Maybe I was supposed to, kind of cut my teeth on Gator and then get ready for Montana.
There's one other story, though, about Gator and phone etiquette.
Oh, yes. So remember when I told you, I started in my house and I had the office in the phone or in my basement, and I'd gone to town, gone to the bank. My sister was there with me. I come back. I was feeling good. The sun was shining. Phone rings. This guy on the other end of the phone says, hello. And he was wanting some ropes. And I don't know, right away, it was just kind of had just a little bit of an attitude, but I wasn't too sure. Anyhow, he says, tell me about your rope. And I said, well, you got headhunters, we got tailgaters. And I was telling him all about the ropes and what I thought. And anyhow, he comes back. And he still was not really buying all of it, and he says, okay, I'll take 3 head ropes and 3 heel ropes. I go, okay, great. So I went to write it down. Now, everything's by hand now. There's no computer. There's no anything, so I'm writing 3
This
head
is early
ropes.
to mid 90s.
Right. And so I said, oh, all right. And your name, please. And he says, this is George Strait. And I went, yeah. And I'm Tanya Tucker. And he went, no, this is George Strait. So he never called back, and I never shared that deal. But yeah,
really?
I learned that.
Did you sell him some ropes or no?
Yeah.
You did. Yeah, you sold him.
Yeah.
But he never ordered again?
No.
Oh, no. Did you charge them for him?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was another thing. No, I shouldn't have.
Oh, really? Did you not recognize his voice?
No. Remember, I'm coming off of sunshine and feeling good, and I was just listening. And so, yeah, that was a oops.
Oh, man. How would you have done that differently looking back? If you could do a do-over, how would you have redone the George Strait rope order?
I'd have probably just laughed at myself and made it a joke and tried to talk about it. Oh my gosh, you just took me away, and try to build a relationship there. I think that's where it's at. Not so much there, but about his roping and getting serious and just telling him, man, I just was out and I'm, just talking to him real. That's where I think you need to go. Just be you.
So there didn't end up being a relationship. Like that could have been That could have been like a bit of a turning
Yeah,
point.
right. That could have, would have, should have.
Like, damn.
I know, right?
Oh man.
Swing and a miss.
Well, and he had his roping for years too, and
I
like,
know.
yeah. But so was he just
we made buckles for his rope, and we did all of
Oh,
that.
you did, yeah. That's right.
So like, it was crazy.
Yeah. But did you run into him again ever and tell him the story, or like?
Oh, I ran into him several times, but I never told him.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, no way.
I probably should have. I missed that, but
Oh man, that's a funny story though. Like
it is.
geez.
Now I probably can.
Yeah.
It's like things you can't talk about, for a while. And then, okay, let's talk.
Okay, it's fine now.
Yeah.
So George Strait, so there had to be some other fun stories along the way though. Like, and you mentioned like Speed and Clay and Jake, like these guys are like, I guess, did Speed and Rich win the world in the early 2000s, or was it when they were using your ropes?
Yeah, they were using our ropes, and Jake and Clay, when they were going out, they were using the ropes. Like, my heart would stop. They go out there like, oh man, that's the rope deal. What are they doing? Speedy, like the headhunter. And so that's just, it was, they're friends now. It's family.
The other thing you'd mentioned is that you guys kind of created the, like, did you create the 32-foot head rope? Is that right?
That was part of it. Yes, because I remembered Jake telling us you don't quit till you're in the catch pen, So we lengthened the head rope. At that time, normally was 30 to 32 feet. Put dyes in different ropes and colors and experiment with that. Came out with a whole plethora of names, the rawhide gator, actually named after or for a rope. I got bucked off in the Brandon pin and broke my femur midway into this, got life flighted. So Wally Badgett, I was telling you about before, that drew it, he drew a cowgirl riding, getting bucked off in the deal, and that was the rawhide gator. So I kind of made fun of myself and had a little fun, and everything had a personality.
Oh, really? And those stories help you market the ropes, where like for us, we had different hats and we're naming them by different towns, and we're trying to put a story to otherwise it's just stuff. Like
it's just stuff.
It's same with Montana.
It was a green rope, or it's a rope, whatever that is. But no, that's a headhunter. That's a tailgater. That's an albino gator. They all had personalities. They all had a different feel, and you can kind of identify with them that way.
Yeah. And the customer identifies with them that
Absolutely.
way. Yeah.
And what's wrong with having a little fun?
That's true, eh?
Yeah.
And I've noticed this vest over here that we got yesterday. They call that the Calgary.
There you go.
Yeah. From STS. I thought that was kind of interesting,
nice.
Right?
Yeah. There you go.
Of course, it's the one with the sheepskin that looks the warmest. Okay, so now we're at Montana, but we're going back. There's like, I guess the same strain of conversation would be the new product development at Montana, going from Gator with the different ropes and the different names and whatnot to creating new products with Montana, and all the different pieces you would make in the collections. And there's so many different stories behind all the pieces.
Right. And it's kind of the same thing, to create products that people value. And that's the magic of Montana Silversmith, mostly, is the personal ties, that you gave me a gift, or that I gave you a gift, or I won this buckle. They all have some memory tied to it. That's the magic. And for us to create products that are, pushing, the fashion trend, but also staying true to who we are with our silver artistry, things that matter, and then creating them so that our retail partners, our consumers alike, can enjoy them and appreciate them for lifetimes.
What are some of the favorite pieces you've created over the year? Or maybe you haven't created, but maybe you have, I guess. But what are some of the favorites over the years?
I love the feather. The story with the the hat feather and where we went. A little bit of bling, as a woman, you can't take away with that. But I also love, like what you said about looking at the gold buckle. Our silver artistry is really second to none. Even this piece that I have on here, the cuts that are on the outside of this concho will catch the light and will catch somebody's attention. And it's that kind of thing, the compliments you get from wearing it. You remember that, and it's a thing, you just like that. And it's like, I've had people tell us, jewelry, do you pick an outfit, to match your jewelry, or do you put it on? Like, it's a personal approach, but it's how it makes you feel. It completes you. That's it.
I gotta ask about Amberly Snyder and the Cowboy Angel, like the pin.
Yes. I love that story. I actually visited with Amberly. We were at Dallas when the NFR was there, and we were during the buckle presentation. We had this great conversation. We started talking about it, and she shared that her mother had given her a Cowboy Angel before her accident one time. And she says, I lost it or whatever. And she said, I'd really like that again. And I said, why don't we create another one for you? So we created the Cowboy Angel, the Amberly one, and she wears it in her hat. And I really think it's one of those tried and true places, or pieces that will last forever. But what's great about the partnership with Amberly and the license that we have there is not only that she's competitive barrel racer now and what she does there, but how she helps people, the motivational speaking that she does across the country, and just the association with people. So it's more than that being an angel. It's what stands behind it, how it makes you feel, how it inspires you and uplifts you.
And she's not the only what I say, not necessarily, like, I don't want to say endorsee, but it's a licensee where Dale Brisby has a bunch of stuff. Chris Kyle is his wife Taya.
Coffee Anderson.
Coffee Anderson's a big part of it now with the American Made collection.
Mm-hmm.
But the Brisby thing, we gotta talk about Dale for a while, and the stuff he's
that's
built.
so fun. I actually walked up to him in Denver once and said, "Man, how would you like to license the products?" I'm sure he thought, "All right, lady." So we had a relationship, kind of texting back and forth, and started building on it, and really make some great buckles for Dale. But it was year before last. Dale called me and he goes, "Hey, I'm thinking I'd like a big buckle." I said, "You deserve a big buckle. I mean, you're the world's greatest, So the team got together, and we're talking about Justin and the team, and we're putting together all the NFR buckles, all of the gold buckles, and we also made a beautiful custom engraved sterling buckle for the greatest of all time, Mr. Dale Brisby, and presented it to him at NFR. Super fun. He wears it around. I don't know how, but it's iconic, and it's part of him where he's going. And this year we gave him a big old bolo that said "Rodeo Time." It's time to go with it. So super fun, individual and great partner.
For reference, the Dale Brisby's buckle is somewhere between actual world champion size and PBR team's size. It's
right there.
Just for reference, it's almost as wide as his entire hips.
Yeah.
So it's probably about a foot, almost a foot across.
Yeah,
That's quite the rig. I got to go back to the ranch grown logic side of things, and I need more on that story.
I use it a lot in my marketing and how I approach it. And I remember this one story I'd like to share with you. My brothers each have ranches over there. I was at my brother Joe's.
Over there where?
In Avon.
By Avon.
Yeah, in Avon.
Hey, and we just got a sidebar too. Your nephew's Ty Erickson.
My nephew's Ty Erickson,
yeah.
world champion. That's what's like one of the greatest things. Just segueing a little bit back there, it's all tying together. But when he was young and I had Gator Ropes, like he was in the boxes there. I made him punch gators, and then I had the opportunity to hand him a gold buckle. And like literally, I had one eye, I had a tear coming down it, and I'm just smiling so much. I mean, who gets to do that? And I know what it took for him to achieve that gold buckle. I also know what it took for Montana Silversmiths to create that gold buckle. It was a pinnacle of my career to hand him that buckle.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but you and Alvin's daughter drives for Coleman Proctor too, so she's on the road.
Yeah,
I went to school the same time as Callie Adams from Montana, the director of events.
Yes.
They were both in tourism
and recreating.
Yeah.
So Callie, she's going around to events, and Tiffany is doing a lot of great things for a lot of great athletes out there. And she's like one of my heroes out there. And so if you listen to Coleman's podcast, when he talks about Tiff, that's who he's talking about, my daughter.
Okay, sorry, ranch grown. We got to get back to that.
So ranch grown. So I'm at my brother Joe's, and he's got a ranch over in Hall, Montana. And we were getting ready to ship calves. And you know what it's like when you're shipping calves. So he's got the heifer pen, I got the steer pen, and I'm showing up there, and I'm kind of a younger yellow horse and kind of feeling fresh that morning. And they're very specific on how we bring those cattle in and what we're doing to push those calves. So we broke off and we headed to bring in this pen. And I swear this horse, call him Shine, because he was a handful, and he got to this creek really to jump, and it wasn't that bad, but it looked like a ravine to him. But we made it over. We get our little bunch and we're starting to push back, and we've got to make the timing right to get to the trucks to ship. And we come to this creek ravine again, turned into the Grand Canyon, and this horse is not going to go over. And so I was sitting there and watching it, and just kind of, I'm going, okay. And you know what happens? You start looking down. And so I'm looking at those rocks, I'm looking at everything, and I'm going, this isn't going to end good. I'm thinking kind of some stinking thinking there going on it. And my brother, John, was coming. He saw what was happening. He come and he was a little bit above me, and he comes riding back over, and he goes, Judy, look up. And I'll be dang. Once I looked up and released that horse just jumped that deal. So what that taught me is that in business or in life, when we start looking down and we start getting into it, that will make us stop. If we're looking up and we're actually looking at our vision, it's like dreams, you know, dreams give us purpose. With that purpose direction, if we know what the direction is, that did it. And it's full for me. I was ranch going last. You keep looking where you want to go, not here, because that's where you're going to do it. It was awesome. And there's so many of those out there.
Well, I think when the first iteration of that I heard was at Donnie Johansson's and his brothers, their steer riding school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. One of the first lines was, where you look when you're riding is where you're going to go.
See, there you go.
Right. So in bull riding, if you're steer riding at the time, you look at the ground, that's where you're going to go. Right. If you want to get off properly, look behind you at the ground, and you're going to go right there. So
is that one of those deal where you can kind of say, you know, you don't let, you know, talent go to pasture there. You kind of listen to some of this stuff there a little bit, right?
Yeah, that was I mean, the bull riding side of things, anybody that we knew that was, you know, didn't want it that bad, which was me at times in the bull riding because I was terrified.
Right. That was it.
That's where I was going, was on the ground, right?
Right.
Like, absolutely. You talked about, well, I guess we got to get to the next piece of things too here, Judy, though. The Montana Silversmiths, you I guess were the CMO the last couple of years here, and now you're on the brand advocate side of things. Montana's hired a new VP.
Marshall Smith
right?
will be taking over from Montana.
Yeah.
Here at Dallas Market, and I will take in a new role, basically a brand advocate, if you will. I'm hopeful to go out and see what opportunities are there, leverage some of the relationships that are out there. As I mentioned to you before, I really enjoy mentorship. I'll be headed to Art of the Cowgirl this weekend, and in celebration of my friend Tammy Pate, as well as in support of the Art of the Cowgirl. And then later on in March, I'll be heading down to 30 Under 30 and
Cowgirl magazine, right?
Yeah, Cowgirl magazine, and just you know, the young talent out there, just as I mentioned before, you know, with what we've done with Miss Rodeo America or any young talent out there, is supporting them and helping facilitate them however I can as a mentor.
The one of the things you mentioned was that you got asked to speak at a couple things. That's something is that a bit newer for you, maybe? Or
oh no, I don't know why, but my husband Alvin, he was the national director for the state of Montana when my kids were in high school.
For the high school association.
Yeah, for Montana. Okay. And so the kids were going, and for whatever reason, I would do weird things. I'd talk to the kids all the time. I'd give them Lenny speeches and just motivate them wherever they are. So I've always been talking. I'm a talker, and I've given speeches throughout my life, but minimal. And it still blows my mind that people would want to listen to me because I don't finish sentences and I carry on crazy. But I'm really passionate about it, and I'm thrilled to be able to help where I can.
But you're going to be speaking at the 30 Under 30 conference or the get together. Well, I forget what it's called, but their event. Right? Is that
we're
working on
that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm also a big supporter of that, so I will be, and I have spoken there and given them gifts from Montana Silversmith to the each class for the last 4 years there. So
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. So moving on from the Montana Silversmith side of things as far as full time goes, but spending more time in Wickenburg, getting some golf in. I know you said you and
I'm gonna
Albert.
do some golfing, I'm gonna do
Right?
some roping. I have
Yeah.
a beautiful grandbaby, a Westy Rain,
Yeah.
and gonna be doing that.
Oh, that'll be fun. A lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
But looking back at your time at Montana the last 24, maybe 25 years by the time you
Right.
do maybe wrap it up, or maybe you stay on as a brand ambassador. I don't know what the next plan is, but
Right.
looking back, what are your most cherished memories, or what are you going to remember the most?
Really, the people getting to share the stories, those relationships, the crazy things that we've done and have been successful at just because of, hard work, passion, the talent that's there, and getting to share that with the world.
The one neat thing with Montana, and even for this, I'm honestly on the brand ambassador side and different things, but like Steve Miller was in that similar role for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
Previously was sales manager, is that right? Or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
A
VP. So
Sales.
people that go to work with Montana, for the most part, from what I know, Donnie worked for them, like Donnie Johansson, who I took over for as the Alberta sales rep. He worked for Montana. He worked for Award Design before Montana even
Yes,
too.
he did.
So he would have been like, he's been in the industry, I want to say, since the early to mid 80s, if I remember right.
Probably, yeah.
And I don't know when he started with Award Design, but he got his spurs and buckle from Montana. And I think they said 03 to 2020 or 2021. I forget what the exact dates were, but he was with them before. But what my point is that a lot of people with Montana are there for a long time.
Yeah,
There
I
was
always say if you work for Montana, your blood runs blue.
Yeah,
And
you're a lifer.
you're in and out. It just does. There's a pride there, and it's a family.
But why though? Like people are there for 35, 40, like what? It's family, like you say.
Yeah, maybe it's something in the water. We're on the banks of the Yellowstone. I don't know. But there's a magic within that. And maybe it's that emotional tie that I talked to you about. It's not so much what we make, it's how we receive it.
And like what I feel is it's number one, it's the family side of things, but people are looking after each other there. It's not
true.
like
Yeah,
right?
That's how we should do.
Yeah, like you're and I mean honestly, like you're not getting fired from Montana from your previous position. You have a different one,
Yes.
right? If they didn't have a heart, they would have been like, oh, sorry, it's time.
I'm still
See you
riding
later.
for the brand. I'm just riding with the loose rein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But they're still looking after us all, right?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get to a couple more things before I wrap it up. You got to go to a meeting here soon, but I want to talk more about Art of the Cowgirl, and then I want to talk about the award you won there too. The Women of the West. You were the first winner, first recipient of this award, and you got a Montana buckle to show for it.
I do.
2019. But talk about this event because I've never been. I've heard lots about it, but we actually fly out of here on Sunday, and my intention is to go over there on Sunday and go check it out and see what the event's all about.
I want to say that Tammy Pate and her vision there, and I talked about it before, but her dream really was to elevate, the cowgirl, to showcase the art, and whether that be in the arena, equine, an artist, whatever that is, people who work cattle, all of the aspects of being a true cowgirl and what that means to each of us. She created an atmosphere of elevation, if you will. She raised the bar. And I do believe that the single best thing she did is in her dream, that seed, she nurtured that dream. And she brought in a tight circle of people that also believed in it. And from that has increased that circle of influence, if you will. Now there's sponsors all over the industry now being a part of it. And you know how it is when you come up with an idea, like nobody's going to do it. She had it in her heart. And the very first one I went to in 2019, I remember walking in the doors or into that venue and just going, whoa, this is electric. There was something very different and very special about it. And I'm excited you're going to come over and experience it because it really is very great.
And you're speaking at her service on Sunday.
I am.
Talk about the friend she was to you.
Yes, really going to. I've been friends of Tammy for a long time. Her parents, the Clarks and the Pates, and it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that.
the event and the award. Talk about the award that you won.
That was actually, Tammy, I was a mentor of hers when she was a young girl. I helped her when she ran for Miss Rodeo Montana, put on a big fundraiser, if you will. They didn't do it at that time, so we had a live art action, a dance, a style show, and raise money for her. And so we just were in and out of our lives for a long time, and um, she facilitated and she came back, and when she started with the Art of the Cowgirl, she got with Western Horseman and created this award, and I was the first recipient in 2019.
What did it mean to you at the time to win the award, and what does it mean now, a couple years later? After this will be the 5th one, I guess, in 2024.
Right, it's a huge honor, and I'm just blown away of all of the great cowgirls in this in this country, and to be recognized in that manner. And now looking back at it, such a responsibility. Maybe that's why I need to invest in others and give back. And again, going to that point, every time you give, you get way more back, and that's what I intend to do.
I'm impressed by the artist side. I know it's called Art of the Cowgirl, but I think I guess I could say horsemanship is an art, and the actual art that is created, whether it's a leather good or it's a painting or whatnot, but riding is kind of like, I could say it would be a riding is a dance. There's an art form to
Absolutely.
Training horses, and that's what they're featuring at the event.
They feature that, and again, like painting and braiding and you name it, it is all there. And that's what I loved about that.
Silver artistry is there.
Silver artistry and, bit making, whatever it is, it's all there, and it's very inclusive. So you can see anything there and really touch whoever the fan is or anyone that comes there. There's something there for you at the Art of the Cowgirl.
I just remembered too that Nikki Flundra is part of it this year from back home. Used to be Nikki Camart, but her Liberty horse axe too, that's absolutely an art as well.
Right. Yeah. So, trick ready. I mean,
yeah,
it's a family affair. You see mothers and daughters and friends and everybody coming in there, and that's where the magic is.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm glad it's still on Sunday so I can skip by. But okay, I guess just a couple more things, right? So if you were going to create something, I've kind of asked a few people this over the years, just like out of my curiosity, but the brand ambassador side of things with Montana, the maybe the speaking, the mentorship, if you were creating your ideal next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, what does it look like?
Holy smokes. I got asked a question like that by someone when I was on Evine TV and selling stuff, and she looked at me and she says, if you could have any wish in the world, what would your wish be? And I remember going, deer in the headlights. I have no idea. I'm going to tell you what my wish is that your wish comes true. I don't really know. I guess next, I'm in my 4th quarter, if you will. Next phase is to really enjoy and to be happy and to be in the moment of wherever that is. And I'm really taking it one day at a time and really being open to what is out there, because I feel that everything happens for a reason, and we're having this conversation right now, and whatever is going to come tomorrow, I'm just going to take it with open arms to see where it's going to go, where it's going to be.
I've got to put myself in your shoes a little bit though, and think about it. And we were talking at breakfast where I feel like I was in a bit of a similar position one time with something, and when that piece changed, and I was very passionate about it at the time, but then I had all this time to create something else.
Right.
And that's when we had the time to create our cowboy shit brand. Like Storm asked me, hey, we should do this. And look at where we are now.
There you go.
This stuff. And, the hat with Cheyenne Frontier Days, like who would ever thought we'd have that. Right.
Right.
But I wouldn't say stuck in this, but I was doing this one thing and it was taking up a lot of my time. And when that went away, then I kind of stepped back, took a breath, and I was like, wow. And then COVID happened, and then I really stepped back, and I'm kind of like, okay, so what are we gonna do now?
Yep.
And then I got more into golf, but I feel like this is kind of and I'm like, it's probably totally different, but we can draw parallels if not. But I hope the best for you with whatever the next piece is. I'm looking forward to that, Judy. So
all right. Well, thank you.
So the name of the show is Cowboy Shit, and that's what we've built up over the years. But we also a big part of what we've done lately is cowgirl shit, because it's I think the cowboy side of it is kind of a gender neutral term. Like it's 2024
I consider
and
myself a cowboy.
right, yeah,
and
so it can kind of be either way. But
right.
but what's your definition of cowboy shit or cowgirl? Like what is your definition of that?
That goes back to ranch girl logic kind of deal. You know, like stuff's gonna happen in our lives. We just gotta take it, roll with it, and go on. You know, we gotta do what it takes, and that's kind of what it is.
Well, Judy, this was a great visit. Thanks for taking the time this morning, and thanks for visiting with us.
It's been a pleasure. Appreciate you. And you're right. You are a diamond in the rough.
Well, thanks. Maybe that should be one of maybe another design. I wonder how we could do that.
All right.
Okay. Once again, thanks for listening. My name's Ted Stovin. Our guest this week, Judy Wagner, with Montana Silversmiths for a lot of her career, the creator of Gator Ropes back in the day too. You know, a pioneer in the Western world, Judy, and I appreciate you taking the time to tell us some stories.
Thank you. It was great.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
I don't want to bet, but my father wrote a check that I bet his ass could never cash. He's betting on the 8-ball landing in the sidewalk, cold-blooded killer if you ask. But every night he needs me to land himself a red 3-corner pocket at 12 a.m. Only 12 years old, but I got a hold of a post-it I was gifted from him. My father is a betting man, but I got myself a steady hand. He's sitting in the corner with a six-pack of Corona, betting that his son will win again.
Welcome back to episode 163. Thanks again to Judy Wagner for joining us on the show this week. Thanks to everybody for listening thus far in the show. I got a couple more things I want to get to, Dustin. I had my first opportunity to revisit the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I went back in 2011 when I was going to school in Vegas. I drove over there with a guy named Josh Dairies. He was competing. He actually got second that year, which was pretty cool. He rode 3 bulls, one of only 2 guys to ride 3. I think Shane Proctor won it. But anyways, we drove over there from Vegas. We got caught in a nasty snowstorm on the way over, and there was no snow plows in Fort Worth or Dallas because they don't get snow very often. It doesn't freeze. So the roads are just a complete and utter disaster. But anyways, more to the point of the story. The rodeo was at a pretty old building, like it was at the Will Rogers Coliseum previously, and it was an old rodeo arena, right? Like it was an old, dusty old building, like it was, I don't know, probably 100 years old at the time in 2011, and it was pretty nasty, pretty much old, pretty overdue, overdone. And the rodeo, I think, was like a few people would go, like a lot of the Texas guys would go, and I remember Cody Wright won the rodeo that year in the bronc riding, but the stock's pretty inconsistent. It's just a bunch of like it's just a rodeo, right? It didn't seem super special to me. I thought it was cool that they didn't have any sponsors on the like as far as the banners go. It was all on the screen, or it was, in the program, or it was sponsor reads. There was no actual like sponsor banners, which was kind of interesting to me. But anyways, the arena's pretty old and crappy. The rodeo's not much to write home about. It's pretty iconic with the white chutes and the red diamonds on them, right? Like that part's pretty recognizable. Yeah. But otherwise, it's like Fort Worth. I thought this was some big rodeo, and I get there and I'm like, this is not that exciting actually. Like Bob Tallman's announcing, that part's cool, but it's not that cool of a rodeo, right? I've been to cooler rodeos other places. So I go back this year, and Casey Duggan with the WCRA, he picks me up at the airport. We go to his house, have sit around, watch the Oilers play Nashville that afternoon, just kind of hanging out before the All-Star break. And anyways, we go to the rodeo at Dickies, and I've heard things about Dickies and how nice it is. And I get to the arena. Casey Harp brings us a couple of passes so we can go check out the show and whatnot. So we go right downstairs and go to hospitality, and they got a full meal there, and see Tyler and Vanessa Kraft and Jake Gardner, and we see Cole Ashbacker, and see like a whole bunch of the Canadian crew anyway. So we have a meal down there. catch up with a bunch of folks, say hi, and then I go look at the arena, and there's like a VIP area that's just humongous. It's the size of, I don't know, it'd be the size of I'm not even sure. It'd be like a whole concourse that you could just stand at and drink. Like, and I think it's only for like a VIP or like people that are in the suites or like the boxes that are down right by the arena floor. But like, unbelievable, awesome place to just stand around, visit with people, stand up and have a drink like on top of the buck and shoots. Just unbelievable. But the building was totally immaculate, built for rodeo. We walked around everywhere underneath. There was hardly any dust anywhere. Like, it's like if they built the Nutrient Center, like the Calgary's Nutrient Center, but it looked like the inside of like a 5-star hotel. And
That's cool.
it was just unbelievable. Like, it was totally built for rodeo. You know, I would say that the Nutrient is kind of like they missed a few steps on that thing. Like, it's pretty well done, but there's a few things that were missed on it, right? Where this Dickies, like the screen, well, you'll probably get there sometime because Panther City Lacrosse plays there.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's their home court, their home arena,
that's their home rink. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see it for lacrosse, and you'll probably go down there and you'll be like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like, you won't believe how nice that building is. It's probably the nicest barn in the NLL, but it's only for the rodeo basically. Otherwise, so pretty wild. But anyways, got to give a kudos to Fort Worth and that whole community for building that building, basically exclusively for the Fort Worth Stock Show. But they're the main tenant. They probably have 35 days. It was huge on a Saturday night. I think they can have between 9,000 and 11,000 there, where the old venue was probably like 4 or 5 or something. So the crowds do definitely look light some of the weeknights. But on the other hand, like the tickets are selling are unbelievable. And on the I gotta say too, on the fashion side, there was a lot of classy people over there. Like, I thought that was really neat with like just how well dressed everybody was, and like it just was a really neat, really well done show. Garrett Yerrigan, Anthony Lucia, Bob Tomlin, the whole crew, like those guys did a first class job. So I was really impressed with Fort Worth. Would recommend to any rodeo fan.
Put it on the list. You've been to a lot of them, so if you speak highly of something, it's got to be good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to somebody. It was unbelievable. Actually, I remember seeing Cindy Gillis and Robert Weiss from the Calgary Stampede in the hallway downstairs. We were talking about the building and just how unbelievable it was. So it was cool. Really neat. I'm glad I got to see it and go check it out again. I would go back just for the venue, just check it out again.
Well, I look forward to checking it out for some lacrosse action too.
Yeah. Make sure you add that to your list.
Yeah, totally.
What else though, Dustin? It's kind of probably almost it, eh?
Yeah, another great show. Looking forward to the next one, and you got the Cowboys hockey tournament coming up next weekend. Hannah,
baby, this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend coming up. So
you're moving again? What is this? 7 times in the last 2 years?
I think so. Yeah, I'm a sucker.
You guys buying a house in Calgary soon, or what?
Well, still undecided.
Don't know yet. Don't know. Are you guys gonna be full-time Calgarians soon?
We might be. Never thought it would happen, but here we are.
Oh man, what are you looking forward to this summer? What are we looking at in the next couple of months?
Oh, not really sure. Getting through this first season with the Roughnecks and talking this summer about a little more golf, a little more lake time, and trying to enjoy things a bit. It's in the rat race. We learned that life is short, so got to enjoy it a little bit more and yeah, just getting through the last bit of winter and already ready for summer. So looking forward to another good rodeo season once again and getting back on the trail as well. So
absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to Sean Morton once again, making us sound good all the time. Storm Defoe, appreciate all the work all the time. Dustin, thanks for doing the show with me. Thanks for making it work.
Always great, my friend. We'll see you back up here and on the ice again soon.
Soon. All right, everybody. Thanks again.
I bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? Settling down, would you marry me? If I ask you twice and beg you pretty please, she'd have said yes in a New York minute. never tied a knot. His heart wasn't in it, he just stole a kiss as he rode away. He never hung his hat up at Kitty's place. I should have been a cowboy, I should have learned to rope and ride, wearing my six-shooter, riding my pony on a cattle drive, stealing a young girl's hearts, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. Oh, I should have been a cowboy.